than 1 week from now, so many people going to be heading to Thanksgiving. The process of getting to dinner, that can really be the most stressful part of the holiday, especially since AAA says that 55.4 million people will be traveling this Thanksgiving, which is more than last year. 2.3% increase, but that's still, it's going to be pretty crowded. So let's break this down a little bit. Just more than 49 million people will drive at least 50 miles between Wednesday and the Sunday after the holiday.
Too many. And if you're flying, expect some really long lines at the airport between today and the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. TSA says it will screen 30 million travelers. And if you still haven't booked your flights, you may want to avoid these days. The TSA expects more than 2.5 million travelers next Tuesday and Wednesday, and the Sunday after Thanksgiving could break a record with almost 3 million people expected to fly.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about this with Sara Nelson, the international president of the Association of Flight Attendants. Sara, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. When it comes to being a flight attendant, I bet you have stories that could go on forever about just watching how people board a plane. What is, from your experience, let's start with that. What is your best piece of advice when it comes to keeping everybody on schedule?
Okay, all right. There's going to be a lot of people, as you said. And the first thing that people need to do is to pack your bag from empty to make sure you don't have any prohibited items in it. Go to tsa.gov to make sure that you know exactly what you can have in your checked luggage and in your carry-on luggage, so that you're not slowed down at the airport. Get to the airport early. Those numbers are crazy. The good thing is the TSA administrator upped TSA pay, which allowed them to hire more people. So we've got more staff at TSA. But this is going to be a lot of people. Once you get through that security line, make sure that you've got an empty bottle you can fill up at a water station and have a protein bar in case the lines are long and you don't have a chance to get food. And when you get on that plane, make sure you look down from your phone and make eye contact with the flight attendants so that you see them and they see you. We know you're a helper. Pack your patience and be ready to be a good witness on that flight. There's going to be a lot of people with a lot of needs, a lot of people in a lot of different generations flying, a lot of different needs. If you can help and you're a strong individual, can help people get bags up, make sure you're not putting coats and other small items up in the bins so we can get as many bags up on the plane. Everybody wants to bring their luggage. And then we're going to have a much better flight, uneventful and safe.
You said you all are staffed up for the holiday rush. How are flight attendants preparing for everything? I'm sure it's going to be chaotic. Do you just pop an Advil before going on shift? Or what do you guys do?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a rough go the past several years for flight attendants, and we've had more disruptive passengers than we have in our past. You've seen that on the airwaves over and over again. And in addition to that, flight attendants have been waiting on their contract bargaining since before the pandemic. So in some cases, for example, American Airlines, they haven't had a pay raise. The flight attendants haven't had a pay raise since 2019. So understand that while we're out here protesting and have a lot of picketing events trying to get these airlines to reach agreements with us that are in line with what we expect and what we should expect, especially after the pilots got agreements that were anywhere between 30 and 40% pay increases. We just saw this happen with the auto workers too. We've got to catch up with the rest of the country. We can't afford to live in these expensive cities where we're based. But we're still coming to work, doing our jobs, even with that going on in the background. And we're going to continue to fight for those good contracts. I should be very clear. Airlines have us at minimum staffing. I want to applaud the TSA administrator for upping the TSA workers' pay so that they could attract more people to do that TSA work and help at those security lines.
So just to be clear, as far as this dispute goes with the companies, it's not going to affect travel at all?
That's not going to affect travel over these holidays, no. But be aware that flight attendants are already stressed out, have been working very, very hard, and haven't had those pay increases. So a little thank you and a little appreciation goes a long way, maybe even a little bit of encouragement as we're trying to get these airlines making billions of dollars to give us our fair share.
And we've seen the viral videos, the unruly passengers. We talked about it a lot during the pandemic, and you know it as well as anyone, Sara. Are you still, now that we've come out of the pandemic, we've seen travel return to its levels, how would you assess the state of the passenger today as we head into Thanksgiving?
Well, I'll tell you what, unfortunately, we have leaders in this country who have shown that it's better to be at odds with each other and getting into brawls than to settling disputes, solving problems, and de-escalating. Flight attendants are trained in de-escalating, and if we can get to the problem sooner, if you can let us know when you see temperatures rising, don't jump in yourselves. We're trained to do that. Unless you see imminent danger, let us do our jobs. But we really call for, again, packing your patience, understanding, as you said before this segment started, that we're all in this together. That's the spirit that you've got to have when you come to the airport. And if we all follow the rules and follow the instructions of the crew and the agents at the gates, we're all going to have a much more safe and efficient travel time over these holidays. So we're all in it together.
One more before we let you go. What's the craziest thing you've seen somebody try to bring on board over the Thanksgiving holiday? Any whole turkeys?
I have seen whole turkeys. I have seen live turkeys.
Oh, man.
Luckily, we put a
Live?
stop to that with the emotional support turkeys. And so they're no longer allowed to come on board. But I have seen full curtain rods that people have tried to bring on board and all kinds of other things. But, you know, when you bring yourself on board, the one thing that we would ask you to do is remember to keep your shoes on and maybe bring a little chocolate for the crew.
Preach.
Keep your shoes on.
Yeah, wherever that live turkey was going, dinner was going to be fresh this year, wasn't it? Yeah, Sara Nelson, International President for the Association of Flight Attendants. Thank you for breaking this down.